young kid that's learning the sport while we're watching him on the UFC. That's what's crazy about him.
Three-piece dinner with biscuits. O'Malley!
Live from the TD Garden, UFC 292's main event had the bantamweight title match on the line. Reigning champ Aljamain Sterling took on rising challenger Sean O'Malley in order to see who is truly the top dog in the 135-pound division.
We got a couple of days and I get to whoop this fraud's ass.
Finally, fans were treated to a clash between two of the biggest fighters to ever screw over Petr Yan. Just kidding. It was a classic striker versus grappler match in the hyper-competitive bantamweight division. Sterling was looking to smother O'Malley on the ground, while Suga Sean was looking to send Aljo to the canvas with a one-and-done. Unfortunately for Sterling, Sean found what he was looking for, and Sterling only found the canvas. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at the new champion. Since he got his start in the UFC, Suga Sean has been a rising star in and outside of the UFC. Whether it's for his crazy style or his friendships with some of the most famous or infamous people around the world, one thing is for sure: you either love or hate Suga Sean. With the title now in his hands, let's take a look at the crazy life of Suga Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley came out of his native Montana fighting, and he's been doing that ever since. Sometimes it's another fighter, sometimes it's just social norms. He's known for his outlandish style and personality.
Time, get up, slap hands, compete again. I don't mind losing. One of these days I'm gonna lose a fight.
O'Malley is very much on the same path as iconic UFC star Conor McGregor, gaining a ton of notoriety very quickly, good and bad. O'Malley is looking to become the next superstar in the UFC, and he might just be on the way. But the only thing holding him back right now is that he needs a golden belt to prove it. Sean's got a crazy life that fits in with his crazy persona. He married his wife, Danya Gonzalez. O'Malley decided to reveal to the world that he and his wife have an open relationship.
I don't want to be in that kind of relationship. I want to be free. I'm in Cleveland. Danny knows I'm in Cleveland.
And claimed he has dope threesomes with her.
The coolest thing that's probably ever happened in our relationship. Like, we've had some some dope threesomes.
What?
Which, in our opinion, is probably the lamest way anyone could have ever described having a threesome with their spouse. When he's not going to war in the ring, you might find him going to war in Warzone. O'Malley is an avid gamer, and he has his own YouTube channel dedicated to his FPS gameplay. It's alright.
Kill both of us, suicide mission.
He started building his YouTube and Twitch presence during his suspension in 2018, where he revealed he was actually making decent money just playing games. Since then, he has been in deals with a few esports teams and promotional deals selling gamer merch. Currently, he is signed on with esports team Complexity Stars alongside fellow UFC fighter Max Holloway.
This was motivating being around them, hearing the numbers they're talking about, and they love streaming. Like, they get fired up, made me fired up.
It's been a bit since he last streamed, but you can bet that's because of his other pursuits. Who knows? If the whole punching people in the head business doesn't work out, maybe he can go full-time playing Call of Duty. His largest YouTube presence isn't actually his gaming, but rather his podcasts. With longtime friend and coach Tim Welch, Sean O'Malley hosts the Timbo Sugar Show, a podcast where the duo talk about the ins and outs of MMA, while also shooting the shit about the news.
Bro, cutting that much weight and then getting hit from Izzy on the chin?
He also runs another podcast with his brother Daniel called the Bro Malley Podcast, where the two talk about the UFC and recent fights. You can find both on his YouTube channel, along with a documentary about himself that he just put out. The Sweet One has blown up in the celebrity sphere since his rise started in the UFC. He wowed Snoop Dogg in his first appearance,
O'Malley!
and even got to smoke a blunt with him after the fight. He's got a steady relationship with Andrew Tate, where the two hype each other up on social media. One of his most well-known, and apparently closest friends, is rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine. You might be able to see the resemblance between the two if you look closely. The two met in Miami, where they became drinking buddies and partied together.
And so we met up with Six, and he's just a normal fucking
good dude.
Yeah, I mean,
what are we talking about here?
You can only know someone so well when you hang out and we go get drunk.
Yeah.
Like, we hung out sober, good dude. good conversation.
You can see O'Malley took it a step further and even allowed 6ix9ine to give him a 6ix9ine tattoo. Unfortunately, Tekashi also got a sugar tattoo. O'Malley's appearance in his first couple of fights made him look like a stoner instead of a striker. In order to draw attention and start getting himself known, O'Malley copied 6ix9ine's style and went full on with the hair dye. It certainly got people talking, even if at first it was how ridiculous he looked. And the Suga Sean train started rolling soon after. He credits 6ix9ine with the inspiration, and it sure worked out. O'Malley started to build a brand for himself based on pastel colors. O'Malley finally got the look he became known for, a stoner and a striker.
Nice.
His friendship with 6ix9ine hasn't come without some criticism. 6ix9ine made a ton of enemies after his very public court appearances. Fellow fighter Sean Strickland lashed out at O'Malley for his friendship, calling him a woman and asking him why he let a pedophile snitch tattoo him.
Like, bro, like, you got a tattoo of a rapper's name who was convicted of videotaping an underage girl? Like, Sean O'Malley, what the wrong with you?
O'Malley still defends 6ix9ine, to his credit. He says he doesn't mind any of the heat he gets for his friendship with Tekashi, and thinks that people don't know the real guy.
A lot of heat from that, but then I still posted another picture with him after, and then like the comments are the same shit, like what are you doing, blah blah blah. But I'm not really doing things just to please people.
Could just be the hair dye and the tattoos talking. O'Malley is for sure a character outside the octagon, but what brings in the big bucks for him is his MMA career. He started in Dana White's Contender Series in 2017, where he got a slick one-punch knockout to win the fight. He certainly impressed UFC head Dana White with his performance, as he won a contract in that event and maybe even earned the coveted Dana White privilege from then on. He made his debut later that year, where he picked up a unanimous decision win at The Ultimate Fighter, and then another one at UFC 222.
Suga Sean O'Malley!
Injuries and USADA took him out for a year, but O'Malley bounced back and was able to show off his knockout power at UFC 248 and 250. Feeling confident, he went for higher-level competition, and he sure got it in Chito Vera. When Suga Sean faced Marlon Chito Vera in 2020, he tasted his first loss in the octagon and found it didn't taste so sweet. O'Malley had some mobility issues with his ankle during his fight, which he felt greatly hindered him. Vera was able to start hammering away at O'Malley until the fight got ended in Vera's favor in the first round. O'Malley didn't like that one bit. In fact, he put the whole experience out of his mind and started saying that while technically he lost that one, mentally he still has that perfect record. It's not quite a delusion thing. O'Malley explains it as a confidence thing.
I talked to the Sugar State Athletic Commission and they took it away. It's not even...
In order to keep up his belief in himself being invincible, he has to block out any information that might contradict that. After all, knowing that you're vulnerable means you might hesitate to make decisions. In the octagon, hesitating at the wrong moment might mean you miss a vital chance to end the fight where you could have. Or worse, you might eat a knockout blow that you wouldn't have taken otherwise. But that whole experience cooled his jets for a time. Fans didn't like that he couldn't give Vera his due, especially with a weird excuse like, "I didn't really lose," or "Actually, I'm the one who won that fight." It might be good for his mentality as a fighter, but maybe he should keep that one to himself. Since his run-in with Chito, O'Malley has had a successful run, but he's been a bit more picky about who he's going against. That thing about his confidence must be something he takes pretty seriously, since he's taken on mismatched competition since then. It took a few fights, including an ugly one that ended with a no-contest eye poke, but O'Malley got back on track to fighting stronger guys, just in time for a title shot. He fought against his biggest test in Petr Yan in his most recent fight. Yan is a true warrior, and for a lot of fight fans, he's still the bantamweight champ, even if he doesn't have the belt. His first fight against Sterling ended with an illegal knee. His second fight against Sterling ended with a controversial decision, and right when he was about to fight Sterling again, when he was about to prove to the world he was the top dog, he fought O'Malley, and then Yan just can't seem to catch a break. The judges went for Suga Sean this time around. A lot of the MMA community cried robbery, but I'm not so sure.
The thin, close fights, I could see people saying Yan won the fight, I could see people saying O'Malley won the fight.
The fight was close. The two brawled it out and went to war against each other for the shot against Sterling. O'Malley built up his recent fights by picking on competition below his level, but once he set up against Yan, he went hard. Suga Sean proved that he belonged in the top 5 of his division that night, even if every everyone didn't want to admit it. It was a slugfest, and O'Malley proved he could duke it out with a high-level fighter like Yan. His victory earned him his first shot at UFC Gold. Given his performance in his last couple of fights, Suga Sean O'Malley is looking pretty damn good. Now, it is time for O'Malley's first title fight. Aljamain Sterling is no joke.
You better win your fight, because I'm coming on your ass, boy. I'm coming for that ass. Pause.
Even if his championship run is a little rocky for most people's tastes. People hate how he got the belt, and they really hate how long he held on to it. After Yan, he took on TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah. He's so worried about it. He's so worried about it, he can come test me himself. He could test these nuts in his mouth.
Who busted his arm early in the fight and could barely use it, taking home an easy, if unfair, victory. Next, Sterling fought against a returning Henry Cejudo and managed to use his wrestling to take him down, which is admittedly a great feat, since Cejudo is so good on his takedown defense. The fight went the distance, and Sterling remained the champ. You can't blame Sterling too much for it, since he doesn't decide how things go. Still, it's hard not to be a little frustrated with him. It feels like he stole from Yan twice.
I was trying to continue even being all fucked up like that, but...
So that was a f***ing lie.
His fight against Dillashaw was against a one-armed man, and he had to go to a split decision against Cejudo, who hasn't fought in 3 years. That said, Sterling is a great wrestler, and his recent fights have shown that he can stand and strike when he needs to. The fight was on, and it was go time, soon. The first round was a lot of feeling out and whiffed strikes, but the second round was where a star was made. Sterling came into the round much more aggressively, sensing that O'Malley was going to try and set the pace. But O'Malley wasn't looking to set the pace, he was looking to end it. Sterling rushes in and eats a beautiful right hand that sends him to the canvas. He tried to survive from his back, but there was no coming back. We had a new champion. If O'Malley was still looking to emulate McGregor, he was succeeding. That right hand reminded me of McGregor's knockout against Aldo, with a call out against Chito Vera for December.
I really have to give this guy an opportunity, but I'm like, well, I'll probably just go out there and whoop his ass, make a lot of money, so I could.
Suga Sean is looking to avenge his only loss and ended his night as the new champion of the world. Suga Sean O'Malley proved that he is the UFC's next rising star last night. Whether you love him or you hate him, there's no denying that Sean O'Malley just became a household name. That's it for this look into the crazy life of Suga Sean O'Malley. Let us know who you think is taking the gold in the comments down below, and subscribe for more MMA content.